he's not who I thought I would end up with. Like he does not check one box that I had.
That's
And
not
I
true.
mean that you really don't. Um, but I mean that in the best way.
Did you know at any point when you were sort of pitching Connor on the internet, in an Instagram DMs, and there's like starting to be flirtatious energy, that this would turn into what it is? Like, I feel like women, sometimes we have intuition where we can see where something is potentially going. Or was this all just unfolding and totally organic? And you were like, okay, great, now we're here.
So it was really interesting when Connor and I first started talking. I had just come out of a relationship and had had an abortion. And I was in a really, really rough place, which is why I was going to do ayahuasca, because I was like, I'm at a point where I need support. I've done stuff on my own. I've just gone through this really hard thing and like I need help. And I was not open to dating. Like I was so heartbroken and just crushed. And I was just not in a place looking for love or anyone at all. And when we first started talking, it was just fun. I was like, "Oh, this guy's hot. He has an amazing voice. I love his podcast. I've learned so much from him." But it felt like kind of surface level, and I felt like, "Oh, we'll be friends." But it really quickly turned, and I would say a couple weeks into talking, like I knew I was in love with him. I was in love with him through voice notes.
Because of this buttery voice, dude.
It
How could you
is.
not?
How could you not?
Yeah.
You might be in love with
And
me after this podcast is over.
It's fair. I might be. I don't know. This is
Yeah.
all of my listeners are now in love with you because you did a 10-minute monologue. So I'm going to be getting all these DMs. I'll send
Thank
them
you
to
for
Kelli.
acknowledging that.
I'm not known for being short-winded.
No, he is not. So yeah, I knew I was in love with him, and then it was really interesting. So we were set to do our podcast swap, and we were going to meet up and record these shows. And a week before that, I was a little tipsy on the couch with my girlfriend, and we were watching a movie, and I just got the balls up to tell him, I was like, I can't wait. Like, I have to meet you,
Who was this that you were sitting with?
Anjali.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I have to meet you. Like, I cannot wait. So we planned this whole date a week before we were supposed to podcast. And the night before I went to go see him, I had this really interesting dream. I've never had a dream like this before, but I ran into him in the dream at like a farmer's market, and we kind of like hit shoulders. And then I just looked at him and I hugged him, and it was like I was home. Like I melted into his body in the dream. Given I've never met this man, I've never been on the phone with him. Like we've just voice memoed back and forth for 6 weeks. And I've listened to his podcast, and that's it. So I have this dream and I wake up and I'm like, "Damn, that was intense. Like that was so interesting." And then the day we met, when I walked up to him and I hugged him, it was the exact same feeling I had had in the dream. It was like I melted home, and I had never in my real life had that experience before. And it was so life-changing for me because he's not who I thought I would end up with. Like he does not check one box that I had.
That's
And
not
I
true.
mean that you really don't. Um, but I mean that in the best way because Jess, I feel like you can probably resonate with this, and probably a lot of your listeners, is like, I have been such a control freak, so perfectionistic, so, idealistic life. I has to look like this and check this box and be this way. And was always very surface level and materialistic. And I I realized that Connor is everything that I needed that I didn't know. He's everything I wanted, everything I needed, and I just wasn't aware of that. And it took him pulling me outside of myself to really like look at my life and look at who I was and what I wanted and all the bullshit that I had been through to realize what my life could be and who I could become. And he's my greatest teacher and my greatest mirror, and he drives me fucking crazy. And then sometimes I hate him, but it's the best because he has truly shifted what I know to be possible in my life and who I get to become in him reflecting things back to me. And so it wasn't what I expected. It was such a whirlwind. But I knew so quickly, I was like, this is different than anything else I've ever done. This man is so different. He makes me feel things. I was shaking. It was so weird. For probably 6 to 8 weeks, I was like shaking, like that buzzing feeling. My whole body was internally buzzing, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I think I lost a ton of weight, and it wasn't like butterflies, like, "Ooh, I'm so excited." It was like and I think part of it was, like, post-ayahuasca too, it was like my cells were changing by being with him and
Mm.
around him, and my whole body was reintegrating, and I was becoming this different version of myself that I finally liked, like, I finally got to like myself and love myself for the first time, and I credit him with so much of that, not that he did it, but he was the catalyst for it.
Yeah. It's like he showed you a different side of yourself and what
Yeah,
was possible and like created a space, whether you knew it or not, Connor, for you to grow into yourself.
yeah.
I resonate with that so much with Pasha. Very similarly. He is nothing like the men that I dated before him. Um, and yeah, I think it's such a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing. I had a feeling. I was like, I think she knew she was in love before they ever even met.
Yeah.
I think it's just something that, and not saying that men can't feel this way. Um, but yeah, anyway, thank you for sharing.
It's been interesting to watch Kelly change though too. Like, and not I don't want to say like I try to change Kelly, but I definitely like push things on her, which I'll probably do to our kids too. Um, but like for example, coming from I just have zero tolerance for like superfluous bullshit. You know, like I like toys and stuff, but it's like stuff that I use and play with. It's like not things to have to have. Like I had an Audi when we met and I was like, this is the fucking dumbest thing, dumbest decision I ever made. Like it's shit like that. Just it wasn't really for me. And like certain things like right now, like I'm super into golf right now. It's that time of year, nothing else is really going on. The weather's great. And I've been like getting into it. I'm also a white dude in my mid 30s. So it's like par for the course. I'm about to have a kid. Like I'll be,
He's
that's what I
going
did.
into full dad mode,
But
really.
like
Yeah.
Kelly, from this person who was like pushing herself into different areas, like for example, just think about like that person, right? Like this person that I had met or knew of beforehand to like last time we went to Texas, Kelly tried to shoot a pig, a wild pig, right? And I shot a deer that trip and didn't think would really be into that, right? Like but she was there for it, which was really cool. It was the biggest deer I've shot, and it was like a management buck on this my friend's property, our friend's property, and doing all that, and then like we were actually quartering this thing up, like butchering this deer in the back of the like UTV, and Kelly like grabs the leg and like starts pulling on it so I can like get the thing off. I was like, this is like, who the fuck are you? You know, but that
Oh
was
my
just I was just so
God.
impressed by that because that's like not an easy thing to do, and it's miles away, right? And even doing something like playing golf or something silly like that, it's like one thing Kelly didn't like to do before was like things she wasn't great at. You know what I mean? It's like she like going and just like sucking at a thing with the potential to be good if you put some time into it, but it's like, I get so proud of that kind of stuff, and even the way she works out now, like, so many things have changed, like, even she was working at Deuce in LA, like, flipping tires and, doing all kinds of crazy shit, and it's like, just that willingness to, like, try different things, it's really good for us. I also love to be a teacher, like, I coached CrossFit for 7 years. I was a personal development coach after that, like, it's just it's in me, like, I can't wait to coach Little League and stuff like that, so having that in our relationship where I'm like, "Hey, let me show you this or show you that or try this new thing out or think about this thing a different way," what would it be like for you to, like, actually, kill something and, like, turn it into food and, like, have that energetic exchange with being involved in where your food comes from? Like, things that you haven't thought about in a different way, and seeing that change has been really, really cool for me because it's just it's because I know it's uncomfortable, but I also know and it takes effort. It's not like it's a thing that just came naturally, and that's, I'm impressed by that all the time.
Yeah. Well, so I've always, I mean, I don't know you very well, Cal, but you just strike me as the type of person who does jump headfirst into things. And maybe I'm like totally off base, but I just, when I don't know, maybe because of the context I know you in is like, leading this company and trying new things. And it always seems like every time I show up to like a mastermind, it's like, we're going to try this and see if it works. And we suggest you do this. And, you seem like the type of leader that's like, I'll do it first, see if it works, because it might work for people that come after me. So I don't know how that translates into your relationship with each other. But I don't know. It doesn't seem surprising to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Thank you for that reflection. I don't I'm pregnant. I'm crying. It's what we're doing. Um,
Yes,
um,
please. Cry on my show.
yeah. No, I think yeah, I wasn't raised to, like, try new things. I
Hmm.
was raised in a bubble, and everything was, like, dangerous, and don't do that, and my mom was, like, so overprotective of me, and, like, even when I was playing volleyball, I was really good at a young age, and so my parents wouldn't let me ski anymore, and skiing was what we did every year. We were in the mountains all the time in cabins. I loved it. It was so fun. And I had all these things ripped away from me that were fun to me. I wasn't allowed to dance anymore. I wasn't allowed to swim anymore because it was like all your focus had to be on volleyball. You can't get hurt because of scholarship opportunities. And so I feel like my whole life I've been scared. And
Mm.
ever since I met Connor, I'm still fucking scared of a lot of things. Um, and I like, tread lightly oftentimes, but I feel like he brought this like curious energy into me and into our relationship where I got to learn how to not be scared and how to look at things through the lens of curiosity and what if. Like, what if you just tried that? And I think the other part is I've always been really good at everything I do. Like I've always been the best athlete. I've always been a top student. I was on the cover of magazines at 16. I was recruited by Stanford at 11. I had full ride scholarships to every school in the country. I was on, Lakers and Dodgers TV at 25. Like I've just always been really good at everything. And so I got used to just doing the things that I'm good at. And he showed me that it's okay to not be good at something, but still do it. And that doesn't mean that I'm not good enough or that I'm bad or that I failed because my whole thing was, well, if you're not the best, then you're a failure. Like that's my it was like very black or white. It wasn't, oh, you can just try this thing or do this because you like it or because you want to try something new. So when we do go out and do things that are different or even, sexually trying new things, it's like, oh, okay. Like I don't have to be amazing at this. I can try it. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. But at least like put the effort in and see what that feels like. And it doesn't have to come from a lens of fear and danger. It can come through a lens of curiosity. And that's like one of the greatest gifts that he's given me in our relationship.
I'm glad that you're enjoying Open Late Podcast in this way. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss one. And check out this next video for more tips, insights, and my expertise on non-monogamy and polyamory. If you want full episodes, you can find them wherever you download your podcasts.